12 o'clock drop, it's the hottest slot, no rumors. Action figures breaking down like ancient tombs consumers. KJ digs wild, bring the skill, no fillers. Poses sharper than they tongue plastic thrillers. Barely posable, never disposable. Review crew so tight it's non-negotiable.
What's up guys, 78 here again, doing another quick review. This time it's the Eliminator 3-pack from the Sexy Ice guys. I don't know why it says Sexy Ice 2019, but I guess that's their company name. These are getting scarce to come by, it seems, you know. Usually with the third parties nowadays, because there are a lot of hit and misses, I kind of wait till these get in hand before ordering them. But because of that girl last year, I jumped on the pre-order of these, and I'm happy because I think this 3-pack is pretty much sold out everywhere. So let's get into it. Big box, mumbo jumbo, Unkval, some Chinese, Japanese, and English explaining it. There you go, you can read that in your own time. Let's open it up. That's cool. There's a sleeve. Nice illustration there. And there you go. 3 figures. Looking good with their hands below. Let's pop out the tray. Let's see what's in the lower tray. There, and the second tray with the equipment, I guess, and the extra floating robot there. Yeah. All right, let's get into the figure. Okay, so this is everything unboxed now. You get the 3 figures, and you get 3 sets of all accessories, and you get the floating robot pod guy, which reminds me of something on the Matrix and Darrow's work for the Matrix. For the hands, you get traditional gripping hands. You get 2 sets of trigger, 2 pointing, left and right pointing hands, and you get the open ones. Open, kind of grippy ones. So you get 3 sets of those. You also get the shield, which is pretty cool. You just use the hand there, slides in. It's got the wrist, the forearm brace, I guess you call it. So it slides in, you can see it there on that guy. You get 3 big ass knives with a red tip. I don't know, is that meant to be like some sort of hot laser tip? I'm not sure. You get the big ass machine gun with some sort of launcher on the bottom, and it has a side grip. No, the magazine does not come out. It is rather static. You get these cool hammers or anvils, and a spiky point at the end there. And with the 3-pack, you get the 3 regular heads, which are really nice. And you can see underneath there, it almost looks like there's a skull there. All right. It's really cool. And with that 3-pack, as I mentioned, you get an extra head. So it's like the unmasked version, I guess, yeah. So you can see the visor's raised up, I guess. That's what it is, yeah, the visor's raised up. That exposes the face beneath. So I'm not sure if this is like the squad leader or something like that, but it is an unmasked, open mask version of it. You can do with it what you will. In terms of articulation, you can see there is some resemblances to the amazing Yamaguchi kind of figures. You know, it does have the floating waist there. The thigh area is the thing, I guess, that most resembles that, yeah, how it moves. Happy to say the knee joints don't have any weird boot thing sticking out. And because they're using a normal double joint, it doesn't pop off like the Yamaguchi Revoltex, which is really nice. Look at those ankles, all kinds of movement there. That's pretty wild. Has a toe hinge. I mean, you've seen the photos, probably the solicitation photos. He can do the splits in all kinds of crazy dynamic poses because of that kind of Yamaguchi inspired articulation. Double elbows. Do notice that to get that double elbow joint so it doesn't become gappy, you might have to do a little fidgeting. See, so you gotta slide that back in there. Yeah. The neck is a bit short. Yeah, it's a bit tucked in there. But it goes all the way down, which is pretty wild. Right. It has a floating shoulder pad, which is attached in the front there. I don't know if you can see that. It's attached in the front there. So it kind of floats and it doesn't get in the way. This shoulder is different to the Yamaguchi. It doesn't have a floating butterfly kind of thing. It is a ball. But the ball seems, yeah, I guess it's maybe like an older Yamaguchi kind of inspired ball. So it does, the bicep rotation is there. It's a bit stiff, but it is, sorry. I did get it moving before. There we go. It does move a little bit. It's a bit stiff, which I guess is a good thing. I know. You can bend all the way back and crunch forward, which is most impressive. Yeah. There is that having to move. Ooh, he's a bit stiff on that one, isn't he? All right. You can crunch forward. I'm just gonna go flying back, which is pretty cool. So to get the head to look the right way, you gotta kind of tuck the neck down because he has this visor in the back from his helmet, or this rim there. There's also, I'm not sure what it is, I haven't read up on the lore, but these canister things on the back here pop out and they give you these kind of like open versions. Oops, not sure what that means or what they're for. But yeah, that's kind of cool. It gives a little more, I guess, dynamic look to it, that something's happening, that they do function. There you can see, you can get the shoulder pad there to move around to cover up things. The waist brief is floating in there so it doesn't get in the way. Yeah, the wrists, oh yeah, just to show quickly. The wrists are on pegs. Yeah, it looks a little thin there. They're quite long pegs. Yeah, it's a double ball, which is interesting. I didn't even see that. There's a second ball in there. Let's pop on. Another. And it's nice how they do tuck in to that forearm there. So that's nice. You don't see that ball peg, or that joint rather. I wish I had like a pistol though. These guys would look pretty badass with pistols. But I guess we'll have to use something else for that. But yeah, these guys feel good. They feel premium. They feel like a Yamaguchi, but actually firmer. They're more sturdy. I don't feel like anything's gonna fall off. Oh, there is a boot swivel there as well. That's nice. The details in there are great. Look at that. Yeah. The spine design is really nice. And when he crouches forward, there's no gaps, which is impressive. He goes right, bends right over. We all love our pouches. If you grew up in the 90s, shout out Rob Liefeld and Extreme Studios. Very nice. So some size comparison to their first release from Sexy Ice, the Mantis Girl. You can see he is considerably bigger. And if I go back to back there, she basically gets up to his shoulders. I like that scale. I do see improvements from the first release. Her wrists, you can see here, she's already lost her hand. They weren't so well done. These are much better. Yeah. As a quick comparison to other lines, there you got the Cosmic Legions there, you got Hazard Squad Gomez, and you got Kaiman over here. You can see in terms of heights, he does fit in, but in terms of like overall scale, I would say he is a bit smaller than most of these figures. But you could fudge it, you know. I don't mind it because with the kind of aesthetic that, you know, they're kind of robotic, so they could fudge into anything really. Now, one of the bonus accessories that came in the 3-pack is this hovering droid mech that's very reminiscent of the Matrix kind of stuff, right? You don't have to use the stand, but it does have a connector that you can use the stand. These are simple metal wires with a rubber outer. These little wings do move a little bit. They're on little ball joints there, you can see. Sort of these little arms, these little claws. So does this back claw. This guy up here doesn't move though. He's pretty cool. These cables are just sitting in there, so they do fall out if you move them around a bit too much. Yeah, but that's cool. You can get the aesthetic that he is kind of like flying through the air. One thing I really do appreciate though from these guys is these are extra pegs, man. And I think there's like half a dozen in here. And there's some sort of metal thing here. I'm not sure what that is for. Maybe it's for something else. Another little thing, a little Easter egg, was that they are UV reactive, these guys. So I don't have the pure UV light, but I got a blue light here, and you can see what happens. There are patterns on them that are reveal themselves, and it's not showing maybe up so well, but like these eyes here are starting to glow, and then that droid floating drone there, he's got eyes, and in the scale unmasked one, I don't know if you can see that, he's got one eye there that kind of reacts. That's pretty awesome, man, that there is this hidden element to it. Today's episode of Barely Posable is brought to you by the Nika Whiskey Taketsuru Grande Travel Exclusive. This bottle, I just got it the other day coming back from the States. Taketsuru is the founder of Nika Whiskey. Nika Whiskey is probably the second most well-known Japanese whiskey producer. And Taketsuru is a blend of their two main whiskeys. They used to only have a older age statement, a 17, a 21-year-old, which were delicious. So this is the first time I've seen his name on a bottle for a minute because they sold out of those. Like they had no more of the 21 or 17-year-old whiskey left. It is more complex than their usual ones. Yeah, the Yoichi and the Miyakyo. All right. So highly recommended. It doesn't have any smoke, but it is more complex and not really a sherry bomb. Delicious. Kampai. So final thoughts on these guys. Incredible figure. They don't, they're a unique IP, unique design, so they can fit into any scenario, any situation you want. I think that's really cool. It's really versatile. They can be goons, they can be good guys, they can be a supporting squad to a main character, or just themselves the main characters. They're amazing. I really look forward to more from Sexy Ice 2019. These guys are definitely going to be in my top 10, top 3 probably at the end of the year. 5 microwaves on these guys, man. Try and track them down if you can. Maybe AliExpress is the way to go from some Chinese sellers. I did hear that they are not going to reissue these because they're focusing on new figures, so that is a bummer. But who knows? Who knows? They say that, and a lot of companies, independent companies, may want to have that extra influx of cash. So yeah, five microwaves, definitely beautiful figures, unique, and really, I guess, really a showcase of what's going on with toys nowadays, man. All these unique designs, independent companies making shit that's so much better than the big companies, leading the way. Really happy for that this is happening. It does remind me of like the indie comics boom in the 90s, how that changed the industry. I think this independent toy companies are changing the industry for the better, and hopefully the big boys will react to this. As always, check out the crew, highly posable, 10-ish Friday nights, EST, with all the boys, you know, Whale, KJ, Diggs Figs, Peebly, Steam Powered Mom, Corey, and a whole bunch of other dudes that come on whenever they feel like it, and the best chat in the community. So shout out to everyone. Barely Posable, Mission Imposable, despite that not making any sense. Shout out to the boys on their new show. Peace.